The bell above the door of Dolly's diner jingled like a cheap wind chime as the morning sun slanted through the plate glass windows, striping the black and white checkerboard floor in gold. Outside, Main Street in Willow Creek, Ohio, stretched quiet except for the low rumble of a Harley pulling up to the curb. Inside, the smell of bacon grease, burnt coffee, and maple syrup hung heavy, the way it had every Saturday since 1957. The jukebox in the corner, still the original Wurlitzer, though the neon had long ago bled to pink, crackled with Patsy Cline, the needle skipping every third beat. At the counter, 4 waiters in powder blue polyester shirts leaned like gossiping flamingos. Their name tags read Jed, 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 and Jed, Dolly's idea of a joke when she hired the identical quadruplets fresh out of culinary school in Columbus. The one nearest the register, Jed with the cowlick, flicked a dish towel at Jed with the freckles. Told you she'd come back, he said, nodding toward the door. Pregnant as a tick and twice as stubborn. The she in question pushed through the glass, one hand cradling the small of her back, the other clutching a crumpled 20 like a white flag. Her name was Marla Jean Kowalski, 34, 8 months along, and wearing the same maroon cardigan she'd worn to her own baby shower 3 towns over. The sweater had once been her mother's, now it strained across a belly that looked ready to pop like an overfilled water balloon. Marla's blonde hair, usually twisted into a knot that could survive a tornado, was loose and damp at the temples. She scanned the room, eyes skipping past the bikers in the corner booth, past the teenage couple sharing a single strawberry milkshake, and landing on the only empty stool at the counter. Jed with the cowlick slid a glass of ice water across the formica before she sat. On the house, darlin'. You look like you wrestled a combine and lost. Marla managed half a smile. Feels like it. She eased onto the stool, knees splayed, and pressed both palms to the underside of her stomach as if holding the baby in place. 3 pancakes, side of bacon extra crispy, and coffee, decaf, I guess. She sighed at the word decaf like it was a personal betrayal. Behind her, the bikers, 5 of them, leather vests patched with a silver skull wreathed in roses, watched in the reflective chrome of the napkin dispenser. The tallest, a man with a graying beard braided tight as a whip, raised an eyebrow at the youngest, a kid whose red bandana still had the factory crease. That's her, the bearded one muttered. Told you she'd show. The youngest biker, name tag on his vest read Prospect, leaned forward. You sure? She don't look like trouble. Trouble don't always wear horns, son. At the grill, Dolly herself flipped a pancake with the same wrist snap she'd used since Eisenhower. 72, hair the color of steel wool, apron tied so tight it could have been a corset, she didn't bother turning around. Jed, any of you Jeds, tell Marla Jean the special today's regret with a side of hindsight. Marla snorted. I'll pass. The door jingled again. This time it was Chad, 6'3", shoulders like a barn door, and wearing the same blue shirt as the quadruplets, though his was 2 sizes too small and missing the name tag. Chad had been fired 3 weeks ago for creative differences, after he tried to invent a deep-fried milkshake. Dolly rehired him yesterday because the breakfast rush had eaten 2 waiters alive and spat out their bones. Chad's grin could power a small city. He carried a glass pitcher of orange juice like a trophy. Marla Jean. He bellowed, loud enough that Patsy skipped another beat. Heard you were back. Thought you swore off this zip code after the last time. Marla's shoulders stiffened. I swore off a lot of things, Chad. Some stuck. Chad set the pitcher down, wiped his hands on his apron, and without breaking eye contact with Marla, reached for the syrup dispenser. The kind with the metal spout, the one Dolly kept full of warm maple. You remember the rule, right? Pregnant ladies get the first pour. He tilted the dispenser. Marla opened her mouth, maybe to protest, maybe to laugh, and Chad upended the whole damn thing. Syrup cascaded in a golden arc, thick and slow, splattering across Marla's hair, her cardigan, the swell of her belly. It pooled on the counter, dripped onto her sneakers, and kept coming until the dispenser gurgled empty. For one heartbeat the diner froze. Patsy Cline warbled on, oblivious. A fork clattered somewhere. Then the quadruplets erupted, 4 identical whoops of laughter, slapping the counter like it was a drum solo. The teenage couple gaped. The bikers leaned back as one, arms crossed, waiting for the punchline. Marla sat very still. Syrup glued strands of hair to her cheek. A single drop slid off her chin and plopped onto the plate of pancakes that had just arrived. She looked down at the mess, then up at Chad, whose grin faltered only when he noticed her hands trembling. Chad, she said, voice soft as the syrup was sticky, you remember when we were 16 and you super glued Principal Haskins's office door shut? Chad's Adam's apple bobbed. Yeah, you thought it was hilarious. I thought you were an idiot. Difference was, I still loved you. She touched the puddle on the counter, lifted a finger coated in amber, and painted a slow line down her cheek like war paint. But love's got an expiration date, same as milk. And mine curdled the day you told me this baby wasn't yours. The diner went quieter than a confessional. Even the grill stopped sizzling. Dolly set her spatula down with a clack. Chad opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Marla, I don't. She slid off the stool, belly leading the way, and faced the room. Syrup dripped from her elbows. Anybody here got a phone with a camera? Because I want this moment preserved. The day Marla Jean Kowalski, 8 months pregnant and sticky as a fly strip, finally stopped giving a single damn. Prospect, the young biker, fumbled for his phone. The bearded one, his president, Patch Red Reaper, shook his head once. Prospect put the phone away. Marla took one step toward Chad. Then another. Her sneakers squelched. You know what I drove 3 hours for, Chad? Not pancakes. Not even to see your stupid face. I came for the envelope in Dolly's safe. The one with my name on it. The one my mama left me before she died. You remember, the deed to the trailer on Route 40. The one you said burned down. Chad's face drained the color of skimmelite. It did burn. Insurance adjuster says different. Marla's voice cracked like a whip. Says the fire started in the kitchen, same night you were grieving, at Rusty's Tavern with a redhead named Tiffany with an eye. Funny how grief smells like kerosene. Dolly stepped out from behind the grill, wiping her hands on a dish towel the color of dried blood. Safes in the back, hun. Combinations your birthday. She shot Chad a look that could have curdled milk. You. Outside. Now. Chad's feet moved before his brain caught up. The bell jingled again as he stumbled into the parking lot, the quadruplets trailing like blue ducklings, still snickering but quieter now. Marla exhaled, a sound halfway between laugh and sob. She looked at the bikers. Any of you boys got a towel that isn't covered in motor oil? Reaper stood, pulled to his full height, 6'5" easy, and shrugged out of his leather cut. Underneath he wore a plain white t-shirt, surprisingly clean. He folded the vest, set it on the booth, and peeled off the shirt. Scars crisscrossed his chest like a road map. He tossed the shirt to Marla. Best I can do. She caught it one-handed. Appreciate it. She wiped her face, then her neck, then gave up and draped the shirt over her shoulders like a cape. Smells like honesty and gasoline. Better than Chad's cologne. Reaper's mouth twitched, almost a smile. You need a ride somewhere, you say the word. Marla considered. Outside, Chad's voice rose in panicked apology, the Jeds heckling him in 4-part harmony. Inside, the jukebox clicked to the next song, Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire. Fitting. She looked at Dolly. Envelope first. Then maybe a shower. Then, she rested both hands on her belly as the baby kicked hard enough to ripple the syrup. Then I burned that trailer down myself. With gasoline this time. And marshmallows. Dolly nodded once. Kitchen sinks got the good soap. I'll fetch the deed. As Dolly disappeared into the back, Marla turned to the room at large. Pancakes are on me, folks. Eat up before they get cold. She glanced at the bikers. Except you boys. Your money's no good here. Consider it hazard pay for the shirt. Prospect opened his mouth, maybe to protest, maybe to ask for her number, when Reaper's hand landed on his shoulder like a cinder block. Let it go, son. Marla waddled toward the restroom, leaving sticky footprints. Halfway there she paused, looked back at the mess on the counter, and laughed, really laughed, the kind that started in the belly and shook loose years of rust. Chad, you idiot, she called toward the door. You forgot the whipped cream. Outside, the Harley roared to life. Reaper straddled it, kicked the stand up, and revved the engine once, a low, respectful growl. He tipped 2 fingers to his brow in Marla's direction. The rest of the club followed him out, tires spitting gravel. Inside, Dolly returned with a yellowed envelope sealed in red wax. She slid it across the counter. Marla took it with syrup-sticky fingers, pressed it to her chest like a heartbeat. The baby kicked again, harder. She whispered to the swell, "We're free, little man. Free and sticky and ridiculous." The jukebox clicked. Patsy came back on, skipping the same beat. Marla smiled, wiped a tear with Reaper's shirt, and for the first time in 8 months, ordered a real coffee, black, no sugar, and damn the consequences.